This is how to tell if your card is going to be at 10 before you spend money and wait 2 months to send it to a grader. Two things to keep in mind here. Grading is subjective, so if you're sending out to PSA or CGC, you're going to be at the mercy of the grader. The other thing is that a 10 is actually not a perfect card. It's nearly flawless to the human eye, and when you get to flawless to the human eye, that's when you're talking about Beckett Black Label CGC pristine 10s, but that's a video by itself. No matter who you send your card out to, your card is going to be scored on centering, surface, corners, and edges. One of the biggest things that trips people up is centering, and you can use one of these apps to find your centering just using these sliders, and it'll tell you what your centering is. I don't rely on those apps because depending on what angle you take the picture at, you can get thrown off a little bit, so the best way is just to use one of these centering tools. They're like 10 bucks on Amazon, and you just line these up with your corners and then use the calculations to find your centering. This is an example of a card with really bad centering. You can see how thin that top border is versus the bottom border. Next is corners and edges. So most Pokemon cards that I pull have at least a little bit of this whitening. You can see there and there, just from the factory. Going back to a 10 not being a perfect card, you can get away with one corner having some whitening and still get a 10. And the last thing is surface. You definitely want to make sure your surface is at the very least clean when you send it in, but same thing, you've got factory defects like these perpendicular print lines here. You can also have small dimples on the surface that you can't see with the naked eye, and that's where one of these jeweler's lenses comes in handy. And this is, again, a $10 grading kit from Amazon. So if you just spend 10 bucks on Amazon and spend a little bit of time looking over your cards, you can save a lot of time and money and stop getting 9's back.